and then be admitted. And you identified 7 separate border points of entry where they could come. 5 of them in Texas, 2 of them in California, 1 in Arizona. It's like a concierge service for illegal immigrants. My question is, you didn't think the border crisis was bad enough that now we're going to have an app that allows illegals to schedule their appointments and come and be admitted to this country?
Senator, you're mischaracterizing the use of the application. Let me explain it to you. We are currently enforcing the public health order of Title 42, and I know you're very familiar with it. There is a process for individuals who claim an exception to the Title 42 expulsion authority because of an acute medical condition.
Well, let's talk about this app.
If I may finish, an urgent humanitarian reason. So instead of them coming in between the ports of entry to claim that urgent medical condition, that extraordinarily acute humanitarian cause, we allow a limited number to arrive at our ports of entry and seek the emergency relief that they need.
All right, folks, today we're diving into a heated exchange between Senator Josh Hawley and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandr Mayorkas. This fiery discussion revolves around a controversial phone app, CBP-1, which Hawley claims acts as a concierge service for illegal immigrants entering the U.S. Now, the CBP-1 app was initially introduced to streamline border management, but Senator Hawley argues that it allows non-citizens to schedule appointments at border checkpoints, bypassing typical asylum processes. Essentially, anyone with a smartphone can reserve a time to show up at the border, no asylum claim or interview required, according to reports. Secretary Mayorkas, however, disputes these claims. He argues the app is part of a broader effort to manage border traffic humanely and efficiently. The question is, does this app provide much-needed order, or is it, as Hawley suggests, Ticketmaster for illegal immigrants?
Schedule you allow them. Let's be particular about what you do.
And I should say that the CBP-1 app was not unveiled for the first time on January 5th of this year.
Oh, no, but you changed it. You made it available on January 5th to the illegals themselves. You don't have to be a lawyer to use it. You don't have to be a member of a non-governmental organization. Anybody can download the app and use it on their phone. And for the first time, you allowed them to schedule appointments. Now, let's talk about what actually happens when they come to the border. It's interesting. You characterized this when you rolled it out as an application for applying for asylum. But nowhere on the app do you actually require the illegal migrants to apply for asylum or to claim asylum or anything about asylum. And in fact, when they then get to the border, you don't ask them questions, you don't do interviews, you just release them. Here's the Texas Monthly, not a notable conservative outlet, who reports, and I quote, "At no point does the app ask users, are you seeking asylum? Those arriving for the CBP-1 appointments are given no interviews, asked no questions about vulnerabilities that they may or may not have listed in the app or about why they're coming to the United States. They're simply released into the country," end quote. So rather than building a wall, Mr. Secretary, you have built Ticketmaster for illegal immigrants.
You are, Senator, you are conflating programs. Let me explain
Well, just respond to this. Is it true that they are given no interviews, asked no questions, and simply released into the country?
Let me explain to you what we announced on January 5th.
No, I want you to explain to me what's happening. I know what you announced. I read it to you.
So I will explain to you what is happening.
Are they given interviews? Let's start with that. Are they given interviews?
We were previously experiencing
That's starting to sound like a no. Well, let's just hone in here. Mr. Secretary, my time is very limited. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to drive to some clarity here.
But Senator,
The Texas Monthly has reported that once illegal immigrants go on their phone and reserve their time to come to the border, once they use your concierge service that you've created for them, when they come, they are given no interviews. They are asked no questions about any vulnerabilities. They are simply released into the country. Is that happening?
Senator, you are mistaken. And if I may explain.
Are they given interviews?
If I may explain, individuals who seek parole under our January 5th program for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans are screened and vetted before they arrive at our border.
Wait a minute. No, they go on the phone and they just reserve a time, and then they show up and they're given nothing. Listen to this. Even immigration advocates are amazed about this. Here, also from the Texas Monthly. Here's one immigration advocate whose first name is Orta. She says, that's the crazy part. Nothing in this new program requires you to actually seek asylum. Somehow, we've decided to punish those who arrive at the border without the app, who may be seeking asylum, but we just let in anybody who may or may not have any particular reason to seek asylum, so long as they've made an appointment on your Ticketmaster app.
Hawley accuses Mayorkas of turning the border crisis into an appointment-based system that allows unchecked entry. He even calls the app a concierge service. Mayorkas pushes back, explaining that the app is intended to help manage individuals with urgent humanitarian or medical needs. But Hawley presses on, quoting reports that suggest individuals using the app aren't required to apply for asylum or undergo interviews. They're simply released into the country. Then there's the cost. Hawley demands to know how much this app cost taxpayers and who developed it. Mayorkas admits he doesn't have the exact figures but promises to provide the details later. Hawley then shifts focus to reports of Chinese nationals crossing the border in large numbers. He asks if any of them are members of the Chinese Communist Party. Mayorkas deflects, saying he lacks specific details but assures that anyone posing a national security threat is detained. This raises another layer of complexity. How do we balance security concerns with fair immigration processes? The lack of clarity fuels Hawley's frustration and probably that of many Americans. Thank you for watching.